Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of Dialogue Horizon. This episode will be fully dedicated to a very important event which will take place tomorrow. Actually, the episode will be totally dedicated to IGAD. IGAD is one of the important organizations in the African continent. It played very important role in different aspects, and also it played in Sudan different aspects and different intervention, positive intervention in many occasions and events in Sudan. And tomorrow they will have the inauguration of a center for IGAD in Sudan. That's why we are very happy to host one of the distinguished doctors, an ambassador who worked in Djibouti. Djibouti is the headquarters of IGAD, is in Djibouti. He worked in that area as ambassador, and now he is also following this matter. We are very glad to host and to welcome our friend Dr. Hassan Isa Al-Talib. We are most welcome, Dr. Hassan Isa, in this important episode about IGAD.
Thank you very much, Engineer Buharaz. I'm happy and thrilled to be in this program.
Okay, that's very good, very good. First of all, before we start our questions, actually, it is very important to mention that Dr. Hassan he followed the African activities, and he is an author of important books. We'll come to this when we go down the episode, like this book about NEPAD, which we'll ask him maybe later at the end of the episode, if we have time, about NEPAD, which is the new partnership for African development. It is something NEPAD, and it's headquarters in South Africa. But let us first concentrate on our ongoing issue of the inauguration of the center of IGAD in Sudan for the first time. So let me start, Dr. Hassan, by asking you to give introduction to the viewer, because the IGAD, before the IGAD in 1986, that there was the desertification, there was the Intergovernmental Authority for Drought and Desertification. This is in 1986, but in 1996, the IGAD, 98, the IGAD. So can you tell us about IGAD, yes, the formation, the partners, how many countries and what countries are IGAD? Just give a viewer a brief idea about IGAD.
Okay, thank you very much. IGAD is the Intergovernment Authority for Development. As you already elaborated, it started by the combat of desertification in the region of the Horn of Africa.
Yes.
The Sudan is one of the founding members in '86, and there are other state members, like Djibouti, of course, is the headquarter. Djibouti is one of the important countries in the Horn of Africa and well known. Somalia is another, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, and Uganda. These are the original founders, and later came South Sudan as it became an independent state. The mission of IGAD, as it started in '86, is to respond to the ecological problem of the famine in the Horn of Africa, and many people now can remember what happened in Ethiopia, and international community came, including singers, and We the World was being the song that make the propaganda to make a good sense of the people of the world to come and help the people in the famine. So the response came from the region's head of state and government to make this organization. That is why one of its mission is to combat desertification. What we call now the climate change start from that. So I think the vision, we've been prepared for climate change since '86. And for that reason, I think we have a
so we were working since 1986?
Exactly. Climate change, because climate change started in our area by having no rain. Many of our animals died in Ethiopia, in region of Western Sudan, in North Sudan, in the region of the Sahel, of course, the other area. So then after 1996, 98, new challenges came at the region. So they elaborated in the vision and the objectives of the organization. So it became development. Development in the sense of sustainable development that came later, 6 years. So we come to the concept of development as sustainable before the UN came to 2002 in South Africa, the first conference on sustainable development. But in IGAD since '98, our leaders has taken this issue seriously, and now IGAD become, including climate change, including the security of the region, integration and economic uprising of the whole region. So now we are 8 states, and I think we have a population of almost 400 million plus, and the GDP, gross domestic product of the whole region, is almost about $1 trillion. This is a good market. If integration comes, then IGAD can become sustainably integrated, can become a good region with integration, movement of people, movement of capital, movement of expertise. We have a good human resource in the area, and generally acceptable sense of harmonization between the people. We look together when we go to Ethiopia or Somalia or Djibouti or Uganda or Kenya, we are the same.
So thank you. This is very good introduction of to viewers that the IGAD and its membership and its GDP, the gross domestic, and its population, about 400 of the 8 countries, about 400 million plus, which is something, and it is a strategic also in the Horn of Africa. The location is catching the eyes, the eyes of many countries who have interest in this region, like big countries, first world countries. Anyhow, let us go directly to the event which will be tomorrow about this center. This center will be inaugurated, will be opened tomorrow for the first time in Sudan. First of all, do you think it is the only center for IGAD in the country? And what are the objectives, the main important objectives of the center which will be established in Sudan tomorrow?
IGAD has many centers to do professional work in different regions, like the Center for Combat of Veterinary Diseases. I think in Kenya they have Sea-Warn, which is early warning center. But this one in the IGAD Center for the pastoral areas and livestock development, which is to be inaugurated tomorrow, inshallah. This center taken to make the integration in how to address the challenges that face the livestock.
Livestock in Sudan.
Livestock in the whole region.
In general, but in Sudan.
Exactly.
Why did you choose Sudan?
Sudan is the largest population of livestock in the continent, in the African continent, not only the region. Because Sudan now has a population of almost 120 million head of livestock, cattle, goat, sheep, and camel.
Okay.
And for that reason, Sudan has expertise since the University of Khartoum Veterinary Science. We have a college. Yes. We have many other colleges, agriculture. Also, the region has majority, almost 30 to 50% of the population of the region engaged in agriculture or animal breeding. And this is a source of life for them, a source of economy. And for democratic solutions, this is the majority of people who vote for these governments. So the government has an obligation to serve them. So I think the center will serve the people in the nomadic areas, in the rural areas, the breeders of animal, and also Sudan, since the 1970s, had the Livestock and Meat Marketing Corporation, which is being assisted as a pilot project with assistance from the IMF and the World Bank. And the international community came in the 70s to help Sudan with the view to finding solutions to the climate change. Since that time, I used to be a researcher in the Livestock and Meat Marketing Corporation. I would like to hail also our leader that time, Dr. Hassan Zulfu, and many of the managers who worked in that veterinary science. I remember Dr. Abdul Halim and others who for the last 50 years, I think now, they've been working in this project. I hope the government of Sudan will also revive this project to see where our animals, because that time the vision is to make Sudan livestock and meat and expertise the same level we are Australia and Argentina and Brazil, the largest countries in meat production.
Meat production.
And animal production. We have protocols to treat animals, how you treat a cow as a breeder or as a butcher or as meat producer. There are protocols international working. Also the veterinary science. In Sudan we need research. The animal resource in Sudan is a vital resource. This can impact the economy positively if we treat livestock with the scientific approach. We use the expertise in Netherlands now.
And we have, by the way, you have, Doctor, we have in the University of Khartoum animal production.
Yes.
Techniques of animal, that's what you are
in the veterinary science, animal
veterinary
production.
Science, yes.
So, and veterinary science. So, not only vaccination, we need whole health, animal whole health.
To give
exactly
more
protocol, so that our animals will be healthy. If it is meat, we need productivity in meat.
Yes.
Instead of having 20 or 15 kg for one lamb or one goat, I need to raise it to the international standard.
And the milk also?
Exactly,
the
milk also, milk production. By the way, Sudan has a population of goats only about 43 million. We are more than Australia in goat population, more than Argentina, and only Brazil and India are above of Sudan. Okay, so for that reason, we need our government to take action to revive this sector and make more research, more industry also.
And to make use of the
exactly
the center, which
the whole Western Sudan.
What kind of assistance will the center give to Sudan? Just in general?
The center generally can make work
research
on research to integrate the research on animals diseases first of all. The second thing, to give what are the best practice in the world on how to treat animals in breeding, in productivity and production. Productivity, for example, milk productivity. We need to raise our milk intake from say 10 liter per cow to 30 or 40, the international. Also, we have the Saanin goat now. We need crossbreeding to see what is the best. We have the English Nubian goats. We need also to make work. So the center will help this, and the interaction between the researchers in Sudan and the other members of the region. So we believe the center has a good.
So you believe that the center will be quite useful as long as we are serious enough, and people and the government are serious to fully reap the benefits of this center.
Exactly.
If they leave it just like this without attention, without help, they will definitely die, and they might move it.
Exactly. It should not be just bureaucracy, because the center will be regional center. We believe that the partners of Sudan and partners of IGAD from Europe,
They
from
will help,
China,
they will come, yes.
exactly, from India, from these friends of IGAD can help us, first of all, to integrate our research with the other countries. And of course, there is research in Greece, especially in the goat research, in Netherlands, in South Africa. Then in cattle, we have Argentina, we have Brazil, we have Australia. In camel, Sudan is also one of the best. I know many professors in the veterinary science in the college now, University of Khartoum and other universities. We need to give them space how to integrate their resources in industry. Also to raise the development of our industry and see the export. By the way, United States and Bahrain and the state of Bahrain are the largest importers of goat meat.
Goat meat, yeah.
Yes, so we can target these markets, and we are vicinity. And now Sudan has very good relation with the United States and the European Union. So we can take this. Netherlands has very good research in the milking, goat milk.
Yes, Netherlands.
You know, there is a cheese called Halloumi cheese, internationally brand. This is in Greece and in Cyprus. So the center can do all this work and tell us in the supply side, the supply chain and the value chain. So we can raise the economy of the rural areas. We can raise about 40 to 50% of our population by making good research and breeding. Also the industry, meat industry and milk industry. Sudan has a potential to feed the whole African and the Gulf region with meat without importing anything from outside. Also in milk, this is organic. Sudan is different from other countries. We don't use any chemicals in our animals. It is breeding, natural, organic feeding, and this is what we now call in a time. Also, there is another aspect now, the climate change. People in Europe now have problem with these fires that go in the forest.
Yeah.
It has been discovered lately that goat can clean all the areas where vulnerability for fires in the forest can. So put the goat there, and then you don't need air to. This is one
extinguish it.
exactly. So that is why.
That's very interesting. Very interesting, Dr. Hassan. Okay, Dr. Hassan, this is very. After this introduction, can you tell us about the most important acts or decisions or contributions of IGAD? Now it is almost 30 years old. In different, you said their development,
Peace.
And, peace, security. What are the main?
Okay, I think IGAD in its trajectory to reach the year 2022, and now we have many undersecretaries. We also remember our late Ambassador Atallah, who used to be the executive secretary at that time, and the last one, of course, and the new one after Mahbub. We all think this a build up. What they have done, we used to have pastoral conflicts between the Kenyans and Somalis. IGAD also make initiative in that. In the areas of veterinary science, they also have a center in Nairobi which look for the diseases and how to combat that and find the drug and medicine that can clean. Also, IGAD has the peace in Sudan. They are now member with the...
They broker the peace, the
exactly.
GPA.
Since the time of SPLM.
SPLM Joe
yes, they are partners in the 2000 Nifasha agreement.
Yes.
That is, IGAD was partner.
It was partner and,
exactly.
And its friends.
Exactly, friends and partnership, and also make the marketing of Sudan peace agreement to the international community. For that reason, we found Colin Powell, the former Secretary of State of the United States, he was signing that, and this is great.
Achievement, yeah.
from different countries, China, Russia, India, all observers came. The partners of IGAD also supported Sudan until the referendum in South Sudan. And we think also now in Darfur region, where we have the largest pastoral community in Sudan and northern Kordofan also, these areas need the international support, and IGAD can make the bankability of this project to get expertise on economic basis, so that we can make private sector with expertise come and join. The banking system can also provide credits. We need to make advanced industry in livestock, because now meat industry is becoming one of the major issues after the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
We believe that now even in Sudan here, we have problem with food. Many countries like us, even in Europe, so Sudan can help the supply chain and put the meat industry, cattle, where we have beef industry. We have more than 45 million heads of cattle in Sudan, plus 45 plus, because this statistics in 5-10 years ago. Now I think maybe 50 million head of cattle. Likewise, we have sheep and goat, where we send to the Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia, also in Turkey. I think we have good to Malaysia. So I think Sudan has a potential, but we cannot be static. We need to move through research, through expertise, and through exchange of views with our partners. The integration of the region itself can help this, because Somalia now use the Djibouti ports to send their livestock, camel or sheep, to other countries in the Gulf, in Egypt and other countries that may need
Ethiopia
them.
also.
Ethiopia, of course. By the way, Ethiopia has one of the best industries that is based on hides and skin. And now you can find a very nice shoe in Ethiopia with half or third the international price. And you pay the bill. I think this is when we can take as a center of excellence. IGAD has centers of excellence to showcase every advantage happened economically, scientifically, or research. What we need is to gather our researchers, to gather our, IGAD also has a business forum. The business forum, like here in Sudan, we have chambers of commerce and the industry, Kenyan commerce, all these people of business and investment can come. Also in Sudan, we have Khartoum Stock Exchange. It can work with Nairobi Stock Exchange, with Kampala, and with Djibouti, and with Somalia, and Eritrea, and Ethiopia. And the combined capital can move freely.
By the way, you remember we used to have 3 big tanneries for skin and treatment of
And
skin.
hide, yes.
And hide, and we used to have this big shoe,
yes,
bata.
exactly.
So this was...
And Asendico also.
Prices are okay. Okay, Dr. Hassan. Hassan Isa Talib, Doctor. How usually IGAD, how they offer the assistance to a country? Is it in kind or in researches? Do they pay something? Do they have a budget for such?
Yes.
People want to know.
Yes.
IGAD, the way IGAD are the purpose of IGAD and the modes and methods of helping countries. Is it only entirely on research and?
No, actually, IGAD is as an organization. The member states has contribution yearly. You have to contribute certain amount.
Only the eight members.
Yes, the 8 members. Each member according to the GDP and population and the ability to pay.
This is a budget.
Exactly. This is the budget to make a running of the activities of the secretariat in Djibouti. We have the executive secretary and the directorates that work with him in each area. The second resource is our partners. We have the European Union as partner state. We have China, India, United States of America, and many other countries. Turkey lately came. I think in the Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia, Arab Emirates, I think Qatar also, Kuwait. So these countries come and contribute to certain projects. For example, if Sudan has solar energy to make water pumping in desert area in North Kordofan or Western Darfur, the project may cost $10 million. So the member state, which is Sudan in that case, will not have the money ready to, so the partners will come and see how they can do. The diseases, when we have when we have problem in Kenya with this animal
Rift Valley
fever. So the partners came, and with Kenya and Sudan and Nigeria, they make alert to all animals in the area to be vaccinated and to make research on how vulnerable these areas will be. So the partners will come and this is a kind of assistance. But now what we look for is to generate our own business, because the IGAD area has also capital, local capital, domestically, with expertise in business, so they can also raise capital from inside the IGAD region, and then credit worthy we can take from the International Monetary Fund, we can take from the World Bank. One of the areas now the international community is looking for is how to combat climate change. The effects, we now see the floods coming, rain come in different times.
Drought in other areas.
Exactly, and farmers and breeders as well are confused on how to grow and which month, and then so we need international expertise, but based on research on the region, because the region is similar in its climate. Sudan, Ethiopia, Uganda and Kenya, almost the same. Djibouti, Somalia, almost the same. South Sudan and Sudan also. So I think when we make a kind like the sea worm, this is give IGAD center for early warning, like climate change, Seychelles, when we have desertification, when we have problem of diseases. So this center in Sudan and the other centers can work together through satellite. Also, one of the areas I think can help the rural communities is how to use solar energy to give water to, for irrigation, instead of make the animals move, like in East Sudan, they move, Western Sudan and East Sudan as well. They move tens of hundreds, maybe of kilometers. This will impact the animal, whether it is milking or whether it is meat, because it goes long distance and then it consumes energy, which will impact its weight and its milking production. So I think maybe now the international community and the partners of IGAD and the IGAD budget for this year to include how to use solar energy in the region. The region have a very good solar resource, because the sun is almost 12 hours a day.
Okay, have you, Dr. Hassan, have you any idea, just a rough idea about the budget, the annual budget of IGAD, the total roughly? How many millions?
Roughly at the time I was, until 2011, I think about 10
million
to 11 million. Now maybe
increase, but this is only to cover. So, okay, so that's why I asked this question, because IGAD, IGAD tried or always used its leverage as countries in the most strategic part of the world, maybe the Horn of Africa. Many countries are competing to have a grip on this Horn of Africa. Horn of Africa is strategic. It is between the Pacific and the Atlantic,
exactly.
And it, for many reasons, and it's the Gulf countries.
Yes,
the very sensitive area of oil production. So, as if you are saying that IGAD, by inviting to be partners, countries, European countries, to be partners, it's using its leverage on its location so that they can direct these partners to come, let us say, for Sudan,
Exactly,
to give the help
exactly.
or
This is
ask their
a
companies, yes.
mutual benefit.
Okay.
Because the partners in Europe now, IGAD country is one of the largest contributors to the illegal immigration to Europe through the Mediterranean. We know Sudanese, Eritreans, Ethiopians,
Yes.
Kenyans, Somalis, our people move because of the economic and also because of the impact of climate change. So the youth in the area want better life. They want to move to find good job. They will not find them in the region. If we create good economy, domestic economies in livestock production, in livestock industry, then these new migrants who will be coming, immigrants through the Mediterranean and go mainly to South Europe and France and cross the channel to London, and maybe they can find good job and they will
subjected
exactly.
to death.
Exactly.
For example, these people, it is very dangerous, for them to
drown in the sea.
Yes, by the illegal
exactly.
trafficking.
But we will not, of course, say this is the way it should be done, but we think these people move because of necessity. Because they don't have nothing to do in their countries. They see their parents
desperate.
Exactly, desperate. So they move in order to find a better life. So if the international community help the IGAD region to make good life, good economy from their own resources, like I said, by solar energy, we can use it. We have a source there. What we need only is the material technology to put the solar panels. Sudan can make industry of panels because the sands in North Kordofan can make good resource and input as a resource for industry of panels. The sun is 12 hours a day. So this is good areas. If we use them and make them bankable projects, I think they can find, the international community can help United Nations, UNICEF, UNDP, and the program in agriculture and food and agriculture program. Then we have the European Union, we have the USAID, I think also interested in this area. So I think this is the way we can lift up all the countries, the member states, by making good use of our economy, good use of resources. Then we can contribute to international peace. When we have peace, economic peace in our areas, we can contribute, because no youth can cross the Mediterranean to go to Europe, because they have something.
So Dr. Hassan, you think that because some people, there is a little bit of criticism of some people at the role of the the partners of IGAD. Some people, they say that these partners, they might go intervene deeply beyond their acceptable limit, beyond their mandate. Not mandate, actually, they're partners.
Yes.
Partners to help in certain areas. What can you say about this allegation? Is it true that the partners are involved in a way or another through IGAD to make changes in different countries in Africa?
Well, I think this could be said in areas like credits coming from the World Bank or IMF, and this is even said by people, renowned personalities like Professor Stiglitz, that the conditionalities that we give to credits when we go to poor countries like Sudan or Kenya, and then instead they tell them you have to lift this subsidy from poor communities and then make. So this is the major. But for the partners, this I don't think is.
They are not involved in political.
Not involving, because the partner come to the project when they see a viable project, like say solar energy. Sudan has a solar energy project to irrigate pastoral communities in eastern, in eastern region, or in North Darfur, or in North Kordofan. So the project is there. The partner come and say, I will take this pumping by solar pumping. Okay, then he will come and the other come and make the feasibility. So the joint projects will come. So in this case, I don't think some of the partners may say only we need transparency. We need a country to make
democracy.
A program exactly for transparency, because I cannot bring taxpayers' money from Europe or China or India and then it will go without record, because many of these governments has parliaments which were asking them to show us what effect has happened by the aid we gave to this X country. So I will not consider this interference. I consider this a transparency. Otherwise, if they want to change a regime or to change a minister, that will not acceptable. But through my mandate and work in that, I didn't see something like that.
You did not notice any
I didn't
like
notice, yes. But I can read it when it comes to the credit come to a certain country from the World Bank or the IMF.
But people in Sudan here, they notice that most of the intervention or the interference of IGAD in Sudan, all the benefits they got from IGAD, first the CPA, they were involved in the CPA, the peace agreement of 2005, and even in October 2020, IGAD was present in Juba. So now people, they think that IGAD is more or less is becoming as a broker for conflict resolution, rather than development. What is the development?
Well, yes, I agree with you.
Where is the development?
I agree, because you cannot make development when you don't have peace. When we have people taking throats of each other, and others who threat the investor by armed robberies, or they close the roads from the investment. So in that case, peace is priority, but of course, lively assistance is coming to those who are in need, like the people now in the refugee or displaced camps.
So you don't think, yes, that's logical, this is acceptable, that, okay, IGAD, from its name, the last letter, development.
Yes, development.
But development has prerequisites for development.
Exactly.
One of which is the peace and stability of the country.
Peace and security, this is
so that's
major
why
pillar.
They are now working still IGAD did not penetrate into its major or main
because of this hindrance. Because if the community is killing each other and chaos is there, no government is no election, no rule of law, how you can make development? Because IGAD, what it make is to call others to come and see what we have so that we can share the profits. But the investor come and look around and say, hey, these people is quarreling, how can I come? I am for I will not.
He will not come.
Exactly.
But did IGAD succeed in any other country?
Yes.
In helping other countries through its partners?
Yes.
Give an example.
Example is Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
Yes, the Ethiopian at the time of Meles Zenawi until later now Abiy Ahmed came, Ethiopia has made great projects. Yes, the Ethiopian government itself has but they use the leverage of IGAD, because IGAD talked in the name of 8 member states.
Yes.
Then in Djibouti itself, the Djibouti now become an international harbor for many countries like China, like America, United States. You know the U.S. command in Africa is in Djibouti, based in Djibouti. China also has a harbor. Latest South Sudan now is having many kilometers on the Djibouti coast to make their own, and then all the, or save more than 50% of the transport, river transport or sea transport of Ethiopia came through Djibouti, because Ethiopia is land.
These are good examples.
Yes, so this is example.
But in Sudan, no, people did not feel this, because Sudan is in turmoil for quite a long time.
Actually, at the time before this 2019 and the uprising, and we lost our government as elected government, we failed now to make an elected government. We failed to make
appointed government.
Exactly, and the international community, one of the priorities, which others may call as interference, they need an elected government from the people of the Sudan to work with them. Otherwise, they will not work with people who claim they are so and so, and factionalism, and everybody take the other, no rule of law, no constitutional court. This is because in the international community, the constitutional court judges should be elected and adopted by the parliament. And this is one of the areas where we have to consider when we treat with the international community. Because in Europe now, the European Union put it as one of the stages that you have to follow when you make a rule of law. You have to have independent judiciary. So the constitutional court judges should be elected and adopted by government, and the head of state will, then nobody will ask them because they are independent. Then they will have a constitution.
So your message to people of Sudan that
exactly.
IGAD is active and it has played good role in Ethiopia, in Djibouti,
in
Uganda.
Yes,
they're quite big good projects.
And in Somalia,
and
by
in
the way.
Somalia,
the peace in Somalia now.
Broker,
with the African
IGAD
Union.
in Sudan cannot do anything in development before
we prepare our home and make peaceful and elected government, because Sudan is founding member since 1986, and as I said, the peace in Sudan, the comprehensive peace agreement, IGAD is one of the essential doers in it. So I think we need to, we are partners. We also, if it is failed, we have part of that failure. If it is success, we are also partners to that success.
Yes. So this is very important. Okay. Also, I remember in Djibouti, the IGAD held workshop on immigration, reasons for immigration, instability of the countries, and the effect of the immigrants by groups, traffickers, human trafficking groups, criminals. They take these people through very precarious journeys, sea journeys. Most of them, or some of them, they die, they drown on the sea. So, do you remember what the findings of, to what the workshop achieved something, did it achieve something on trying to combat the trafficking?
As we said before, generally speaking, in the illegal migration, the causes and root causes of the migration itself, first of all, we have this migration youth from 16, maybe 12 years until 40. These are the category that always have ambition to improve their economic life. The migration in the region is economic. It is not, they don't migrate to kill people or become terrorists. But if we don't consider this, then they can become, because the terrorists can lure them, can tell them, we give you $1,500 and you work with us. Then because he is desperate, he can become a terrorist, not because of his choice, but because of necessity. And this is why we insist that economic uprise of the region is essential. It is necessary that the international community help the IGAD region, and especially the vulnerable state. Then we need peace and security. We need democratically elected governments. We need peace as between the region and within the region, intra-peace and inter-peace, inter-region and intra-region peace. This is the way we can. Then we need also to concentrate on the capital resource in the region, whether this human resource capital or material capital. We have livestock, we have pastoral areas, we have agriculture, and then integration, because the third pillar of IGAD is integration between Sudan and Ethiopia, between Sudan and South Sudan, between Sudan and Eritrea. We have to put all barriers against movement of capital, of business, of person within the law. So we need interface between our laws, that when a Sudanese go to Asmara or to Addis Ababa or go to Mogadishu, he will not find that he is a foreigner. He should be considered as region, citizen of the IGAD region, and maybe we can make our passport for the region. Then a businessman can make investment in Djibouti or Mogadishu or Nairobi without any hindrance, and to be treated at the same law that treats the citizen of that country. I think this is the vision of IGAD. The African Union now have the same vision, and IGAD is one of the 8 regional economic communities in the African Union. So when IGAD needs to go above the level of partners, they will go to the African Union to help them to talk to the international community, because the African Union is the representative of 55 states, which is the largest bloc in the United Nations. So I think it is a potential, yes.
There is a potential.
Yes,
So IGAD now I think many people, they must be convinced that IGAD
can make yes,
real
and can
development.
be improved.
And it happened in Ethiopia, in
Uganda, and
Djibouti. And
these are examples we see now. Even the road that go from Dakar to N'Djamena and maybe come to Sudan and Djibouti, this is under the African Union, but the regional community is IGAD, because the African Union has 8 regional communities. One of them is IGAD. So when we need to reach the African Union, we reach African Union through IGAD. So but we need to have a viable, bankable projects, well addressed, well designed, and well researched. And we have, Sudan has one of the largest, as I said, livestock and animal resource, agriculture, but also human resource.
Okay,
the Sudanese
that's very good, because now I have my last question, Dr. Hassan Isa Talib, Ambassador. My last question is about the IGAD is developing or trying to develop what we call the blue economy. The blue means it has something to do with water. Just can you, in 2 minutes, can you give us a brief idea about this?
Exactly.
This blue economy.
The blue economy is the latest now economy addressed in the UN through the Sustainable Development and the Vision 2030 and 2050. With the UN, they use it as an international vision on how to make rivers and seas and lakes and water as an economy that will be sustainable, friendly to the environment, and also can generate income and help in the peaceful settlement of many communities. Now IGAD has, as I said, seaports, like the Djibouti seaport, Port Sudan seaport. In Kenya, they have Malabo, and one of the Mombasa, of course. Mombasa, one of the largest sea. Then in Uganda, they have the Lake Victoria and the region between Lake Victoria and Alexandria. There is a project that will help transport and river transport, and maybe also tourist transport. You take a journey from Alexandria, put all these tourists from Europe and other, and come until they reach the Lake Victoria, where the source of the Nile. For thousands of years, all the monarchs and kings of the world want to know, even when they said Muhammad Ali came 1820 in Sudan, the Turkish invasion, they want to know where the source of the Nile.
The source of the water.
Yes, Livingstone came to know the source of the Nile. So this is for many people imagination and creation of inspiration of how people lived for thousands and thousands of years. The Nubian civilization. So this is one of the blue economy. Then Port Sudan itself, it can be as a blue economy. The river Red Sea.
Red Sea, yes.
We can use it as a river, generate electricity now from waves. This is a new technology now.
Yeah.
You can generate electricity and become friendly and clean electricity. We have, as I said, Djibouti, we have Mombasa. Then the landlocked, like South Sudan, like Ethiopia, they can use these resources in the blue economy to make their transport, which is the cheapest transport.
The cheapest transport.
Exactly.
Okay, that is very good, Dr. Hassan Isa Talib, ambassador, and you work in the IGAD area, in the IGAD in Djibouti as ambassador. So we are very glad that we had you in this episode. I think the viewers now are enlightened by what you said to them, and we hope for IGAD very good days and success tomorrow in the inauguration of the center in Sudan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Ahmed. Thank you, dear viewers, for being with us in the last hour or so. We hope to see you next week in Dialogue Horizon in a different topic in Dialogue Horizon. Bye.